Hello, first grade families. So this week we are going to be focusing on informational text. Can you guys tell me what an informational text is? Yell it nice and loud so I can hear you. Awesome. An informational text is nonfiction, so it gives you information about somebody in history, an animal, anything that's real. Okay, remember fiction is fake. Okay, so this means it's real. Okay, so today we're going to be reading about a president. Can you guys name any presidents? Start yelling them all out. Can you name any presidents? Great job. There's George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, JFK. Those are all presidents. One important president we're going to talk about today is Benjamin Franklin. Can anybody think, just from this cover, what you think Benjamin Franklin is famous for? Yeah, so maybe electricity because we have the lightning? I don't know. I guess you're going to have to wait and see. Let's see. Benjamin Franklin, writer, inventor, and statesman. Benjamin Franklin is one of the most important and interesting people in the history of the United States. Ben helped the country form its first government. He was good with both people and ideas. Ben was very smart and curious, too. He taught himself how to do many things well. His inventions and ideas still help us today. This is the story of Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin came from a big family. He had 16 brothers and sisters. Do any of you have a big number of brothers and sisters? Super cool. He was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1706. Massachusetts was then a colony belonging to England. Ben's father had a shop where he had made soap and candles. When Ben turned 10, he had to stay home from school and help his father. Ben learned to make soap and candles, but he didn't like doing it. But he still had to help out, right? You may not like everything you have to do. Ben got to go to school for only 2 years, but he read every book he found. He taught himself math, writing, and science. Ben learned how to make a newspaper in his brother's print shop. He and his brother argued a lot, so Ben ran away when he was 17. He went to Philadelphia, the largest city in the 13 colonies. In Philadelphia, Ben worked hard to become a successful printer. By the time he was 24, he had his own print shop. Ben wrote newspaper articles and signed a woman's name to them. His brother printed them in the paper until he learned that Ben had written them. He printed the Pennsylvania Gazette newspaper. He also printed a book he wrote called Poor Richard's Almanac. People loved to read Ben's almanac. It was funny and full of wise sayings we still use today. Some of Ben's sayings, the early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. God helps them that help themselves. Little strokes fell great oaks. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. In 1730, Ben married Deborah Reed. She helped run a general store in front of the print shop. She sold things such as soap and fabrics. Ben was happy, funny man. He was also curious. He had a lot of questions about the world. What makes wind blow? Where does electricity come from? Why is the ocean warm near the shore? When Ben had a question, he tried to find the answer. He wondered if lightning made electricity. He flew a kite in a storm until lightning hit the kite. The lightning traveled down to the string and hit a key tied to the other end. It made a spark. Electricity. What is electricity? What runs on electricity? Can you name some things? Start naming all the things you can think of that run on electricity. You're right. Fridge, TV, computer, that all runs on electricity. Ben's experiments with electricity were often dangerous. He once tried to kill a turkey with electric shock. Instead, he knocked himself out. Ben found an answer. He used it to help people. He invented a lightning rod, a tall pole to put on top of a house. It kept lightning from starting fires in people's homes. Back then, people heated their homes with wood-burning stoves. Ben invented a stove that burned less wood yet was even hotter than the other stoves. It was called the Franklin stove. Ben never sold anything he invented. He just gave it away to make people's lives better. Ben ran to the post office and helped the mail get delivered faster. In 1775, he became the first postmaker general in charge of all post offices in the colonies. In 1847, Ben and George Washington had their pictures on every first U.S. postage stamp. Ben helped start the first library, the first fire department, and the first city hospital in the colonies. Ben's hospital was built especially for the poor. Before this hospital, people who were poor and sick had no place to go when they were sick. In 1775, the colonies started the Revolutionary War to win their freedom from England. Ben helped write the Declaration of Independence. This important paper marked the beginning of the United States of America. Do you know what day they signed the Declaration of Independence? It's a holiday. Good guesses. It is Independence Day, July 4th. The 4th of July is the day they signed the Declaration of Independence. At first, the war is not going well. Ben went to France and he convinced the French to send their army to help the colonies. Many people think the war would have been lost without Ben's work. The French people really liked Ben. They painted pictures of him and wrote poems about him. Crowds followed him when he walked down the streets. After the war, Ben helped make America's first laws. He signed the Constitution of the United States. The country loved him. He died in 1790 at the age of 84. About 20,000 people went to his funeral. Ben once said he would like to return to the world 100 years after he died to see what all the new ideas and inventions. Imagine what he'd say if he visited today. So he's on the what? You're right, he's on the $100 bill. So Ben was honored by putting his face on the $100 bill. The end. So at the end of our book, there is a timeline that talks about his life. And then there's some different questions, did you knows, and a glossary. Can anybody remind me what a glossary is? Awesome, you're right. A glossary tells us what certain words in the book mean. Okay, so what we are going to do, I need everybody to get their handy-dandy notebooks. Go ahead and grab it. If you need a second to grab it, go ahead and hit pause. At the top, you're going to go ahead and write your name. Just because if a paper comes out, you want to know that it's yours. So I put my name right at the top, nice and small on the line. And you're going to put the date. Today is 3/30/2020. Right at the top. And you're going to just write an I for informational and just put day 1. Okay, so I want you to start telling me some new things that you learned about Benjamin Franklin. Just start shouting them out. Shout out everything you just learned about Benjamin Franklin. Good. So what you're going to do now is you're going to write 3 things that you learned about Benjamin Franklin in your notebook. 1, 2, and 3. So one thing that I learned is he was an inventor. So I wrote it right on my line. I didn't write it all over my paper. I write it nice and neatly. You're going to write 2 more things, okay? I want you to come up with your other ones, okay? Your teacher is going to be looking for different pieces that you're writing, okay? This will not be submitted. It's just for you to see, and we will see them when we get back to school. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.